We're good? Yep. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Shark Show today, Tuesday. My name is Roy. I'm Assistant Curator of Fishes here at Moody Gardens on Galveston Island in Texas. And I'd like to pass it over to Jesse at Texas State Aquarium to introduce him.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse. I'm part of the animal care team here at the Texas State Aquarium. We're located in Corpus Christi, Texas on Corpus Christi Bay.
All right. We're getting some questions here. Our first question is, do sharks make sound? And from what I know about that, pretty much the only shark that I know is the draft board shark in New Zealand. They actually make a little barking sound when they're pulled out of the water. You know anything about that, Jesse?
No, I haven't heard that one. I would say today we had our nerf sharks making quite a bit of sounds on top of the tank. So it's not they're not generating sound vocally, but they're certainly making sound.
I know when we pull our zebra sharks out, they make kind of a squishy sound with their mouth. That's just a matter of them trying to breathe out of the water.
Right. Yeah. We tried that today.
All right. Well, we have another question here. So, what kinds of sharks are found in the Gulf of Mexico? I'll pass that one on to you if you want to start, Jesse.
Sure. So, just recently we had I think a 12-foot tiger. Is that right? A 13-foot tiger.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, pulled up on around Bob Hall Pier, Port Aransas area. So, tiger sharks are here, bull sharks, we have lemons, browns, black tips, we have spinners, quite a range of animals down here.
Yeah, I agree. This time of year especially, our fishermen here on the right off the beach start catching a lot of juvenile black tips and also bonnethead sharks.
Yeah, we see a lot of bonnetheads this time of year as well.
Yeah, we just got some chairs. I'm gonna get on the chair there. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, we have another question. How do sharks sleep? Very soundly. No, actually, sharks sort of go into a torpor. They just sort of slow their metabolism down and for certain periods of time, and it helps them rest. They actually don't sleep like we do, where we nod off in the corner for 8 hours. Some of the swimming sharks will actually go into periods where they do long glides and will rest that way, so they don't have to expend a lot of energy. That way they sort of sleep or rest like we would think of them. Sharks are fish. Sure they're fish. You think so, Jesse?
I'm sorry. Sharks are fish, yes. Sharks are fish. They are.
Big fish.
Big fish.
Sharks are fish. They're all considered fish, but they're different than the fish that we normally think of. Because their skeletons are made of cartilage, much the same thing as our ears, sort of squishy. And most other fish skeletons are made of. We have a question from one of our guests here.
What do sharks eat?
What do they eat? Oh, they love children, just like you. Not really. Sharks eat all sorts of things. They eat squid and other fishes, shrimp, lobsters, and all sorts of things that they might be able to find.
what does that do?
Well, the little shark you see behind you is our coral cat shark, and he likes to eat pieces of shrimp and little pieces of squid and other types of fish. Sound check gears, Jesse.
Yeah, so how do prey not see sharks? Did you see that question?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we
so-
have one here. Caleb is asking, how do prey not see the sharks when they're in the water?
I would, on our end, I think counter shading helps a lot. So the darker color on top of the animal versus the lighter color on the bottom, the sharks can blend in quite well with the environment.
Exactly right. Some of them are very cryptic. For instance, we have wobegongs in the South Pacific exhibit that are very ornately colored and camouflaged. So they fit in really well in the coral reefs, and makes it hard for other animals to see them. Ooh, we got a good one here. It says, how fast can sharks swim?
Fast enough. I don't know the answer to that one.
I'd say a lot faster than us.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, some sharks have been the fastest shark I think that most people think of as the mako has been thought to swim easily over 20 miles an hour, which is really fast when you think of a fish swimming. Sure, we got another one here. Evan asks, have you heard of the shark
Named submarine.
named Spring?
I have not.
I believe perhaps that is on one of the Discovery Channel specials, and I think that is a great white shark. That is on one of their specials, I believe. I'm correct. Maybe that's the Megalodon. Is that the nickname they give the Megalodon shark?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest misconception?
Well, let's see. What's the biggest misconception of sharks? And probably I have to personally say is that they're out there just to eat everybody that even touches their toes in the water on the beach. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I think that they're. I don't know if that's true at all. We have very few shark bites down here. Most of the time, they stay away from people in the water, and no problem at all.
Sharks are just really cool animals. They're very curious about their environment. And, they're there for us to enjoy and learn about. We really have to respect them for where they live and what they do out in nature. Got another question from Philip. He's asking us, how do parent sharks protect their babies?
Well, you know, once the eggs either laid or the babies are born from the mother, that's pretty much it. They're on their own. So parent sharks don't do too much other than lay the eggs and birth the babies.
Exactly right. No parental care whatsoever.
Yep.
They come out of the egg, or when they're born live, they're ready to go.
Yep.
They start
Very
eating
successful.
almost. Yeah. Well, they've been around for millions and millions of years. Where do the largest sharks live?
Well,
Some of them are here in the Gulf of Mexico.
I was going to say, we had a whale shark sighting not too long off the coast, so they're here in the Gulf.
Sure. Yeah, very. Actually, they're quite common to the point. There's aggregations of them found off of the Yucatan in Mexico, and some of them whale sharks is the largest fish in the world and largest shark, and they can easily be over 40 feet long and weigh several tons. Is that Evan? Evan asks us, how long the shark live?
We have a sand tiger that's over 35 years old, so I think still pretty long lived.
Wow, that's great!
Yep.
Man, congratulations. I know that's a mystery for a lot of sharks because they're in the ocean. It's hard for us to study them, and most of what we know about their longevity are the animals that you and I care for in aquariums.
That's right.
Can sharks survive outside of salt water?
You know, there's been some bulls up the Mississippi in recent years, so they can go, I think, short periods of time in freshwater.
Sweet. Go figure.
Yep.
Pyramid Kid campers want to know, they're asking us what our favorite shark species is. And I'll start with mine. I think my favorite shark species has to be, let's see, all of them. No, I think wobbegongs are kind of neat. I like bull sharks because they were the first sharks that I ever worked with. So I think bull sharks are pretty unique sharks.
I think hammerheads. We're starting to get into the hammerhead world, and they're fascinating sharks to work with.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
Logan asked us, how big can a tiger shark get? You just mentioned you had an experience with that just recently.
We did. We had a 13 footer, is that what we're saying? 13 footer caught off of Port Aransas around Bob Hall Pier. So I know that I think the state record was maybe 14 or 15 feet. So they're pretty big sharks.
Yeah, I think it's almost 1,200 pounds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a big old shark.
He was large.
Do sharks have bones?
Well, they have cartilaginous skeletons, so kind of made out of the same material that our nose and ears are made out of, a real spongy, flexible material, but not true bones like we have.
Right. Yeah, they're pretty squishy animals. You take them out of the water and they just sort of flop around a lot. They're very delicate, actually, when you pull them out because you can injure them very easily because they do not have a skeleton. And it's very easy to injure their gills or their internal organs because they are so flexible.
Yep.
Also makes them dangerous because they can turn them right on themselves. So when you're handling one, certainly don't grab one by the tail because they can turn around and bite you quickly.
Get you.
What is the largest and the smallest shark? I'll take the smallest shark. Smallest shark is a little cigar shark, and they full grown. Those little barely 6 inches. You can see in the background of my over my right hand shoulder here, we have a little coral cat shark, and he's just barely about 2 foot when he's full grown.
And so the largest species of shark would be whale sharks, so well over 40 feet, the biggest fish in the ocean, like we said, here in the Gulf of Mexico in pretty good numbers, so it's by far the biggest.
Our next question is, we touched on this, is what is the fastest swimming shark? I would say it's the one right behind you. Oh, we have a question that you talked about when we were looking at
That's right.
Why are most sharks lighter in color underneath and darker on top?
Yeah, so that coloration helps with the animals blending in either from the surface or from below. So either side, the animal blends in with what's above it or below it. So it's a great camouflage technique for the animals.
Exactly. Exactly. You can see that in the sharks in our aquariums when you look at the sand tigers and the brown sharks, and you can see the counter shading colors on them.
That's right.
Hunter asked, are there sharks around Galveston and Corpus Christi? And for Galveston, I have to say yes, most definitely. It's a gathering place for sharks for two reasons. One, there's lots of food, and also there's a good place for female sharks to give to their young, because there is a lot of food there.
Yep.
And how about Corpus?
Corpus, we have a lot. We have several species that are here year-round, blacktips, tigers. We have scalloped greater hammerheads, bulls, lemons. So yeah, there's quite a few species in the area.
I think we have just about the same assemblage, but I think a lot of ours are seasonal, because farther south it's a little warmer year-round, so you probably see them all year long.
Yeah. You know, we also, a couple of years ago, we had a large mako that's stranded, so they're here as well.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Audrey asked us, can sharks smell people?
They can smell. I don't know how people smell, but they certainly can detect scent in the water.
Yeah, especially if you're bleeding. Sharks have a great sense of smell, and you know, they can pick out faint drops or faint smell of blood in the water from many miles away. So,
True.
Well, this is a great question. Do sharks have tongues?
I have not seen one in a shark. No.
Only when they stick it out at you.
Yeah,
You're swimming by.
right before you go.
Yeah. And can sharks, we were just talking about smelling people, and can sharks smell blood?
Absolutely. We see that all the time here with different prey items that we put in the water.
Oh yeah. They know it's feeding time. As soon as you put that the big old bloody piece of fish in the water, it brings them right over, doesn't it?
It sure does. It's instantaneous.
Yep. Evan asked, and I think this was on a special again on Discovery, he was asking, are great white sharks afraid of killer whales?
That's a great question. I don't know that I have an answer to that one.
I can't, man, the life of me, I don't have personal experience with that. So I wouldn't think great whites are probably afraid of much of anything.
Yeah, they kind of do what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sharks sleep. We've had only if you give them a shark huggy.
Yeah, they certainly go into a rested state, but they don't sleep like we do.
Right. Ooh, this is a really good question. Caleb asked us another question here, is how do sharks see in dark water at night to find their prey? That's a very good question.
Mm-hmm. So I would think... go ahead, Roy, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sharks have great eyesight. Some sharks, for instance, lemon sharks that we talked about, some scientists believe that their eyes are as acute in the dark as cat eyes are. They're able to see very well, and they have excellent night vision. As a matter of fact, a lot of sharks look for food at night, and their eyes are specifically made. And some of the deeper water sharks, you can actually see that the eyes are much larger, allow more light in for them to be able to hunt.
So the next one is, can hammerhead sharks bite people? And I would say they certainly can. If you're not careful with them, if you're handling them, they can spin around and get you pretty good.
Yeah, I know great hammerheads have been implicated in shark attacks on people, so they're definitely want to keep them away from it.
Yep.
He is going to ask us a question.
I have a question. So what's the best time to avoid sharks if you're on the water? You know, sometimes they say they come out at dusk or a certain time. What are the rules there?
She was asking us at when is the best time to go into the water to avoid sharks. For instance, if you're in Corpus or Galveston and you want to go swimming, what would be the best time to sort of keep your encounters to a minimum? And I would think probably, midday. You know, you certainly don't want to go out at sunrise or sunset.
Right, dusk and dark is.
A lot of mistaken identity happens in those times.
It's true.
So like when you do see a shark, what do you do?
Ooh, if you see a shark, what do you do?
In the water.
In the water. Well, you pee. No. Sorry. No, if you see a shark, remain calm. Don't make a lot of movements, and slowly get out of the water.
Get out of the water.
Don't do yourself. Yeah.
Here's a question.
This is a good question also. So do most sharks hunt alone, or do they hunt in groups?
Well, there's certainly some species that school together, but I think most of them would hunt alone and then maybe kind of aggregate as preys around.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I've seen sharks hunt on their own, but you know, actually you see them in big schools or groups are just sort of swimming together, not actually.
Right.
Sharks blink. Only when you take their pictures.
Yeah, I think they certainly will control their eyes during a hunt or while they're attacking prey, but I think other than that, they don't blink like we would blink.
Right. Yeah, we got a repeat here. So why are people so afraid of sharks?
Well, you certainly have to.
No, I can't. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think you have to certainly respect them because they're wild animals and they can be dangerous. But I think you know, if you get out of their way, they're really nothing to be afraid of. I know here we get in with our sharks several times a week. We've never had any problems. The animals get out of our way, and it works really well.
I totally agree. Yes, very much so. I just found some interesting. People really should not be afraid of sharks. I found some interesting little stats. At 2,900 people a year are killed by hippopotamuses, and nobody ever thinks of, you know, sweet little hippo killing people. You know, 500 people a year are killed by elephants. So it just kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'd like to know more about the work that you do here at Moody Gardens with sharks, and then more about the work that they do at Texas State with sharks. You know, how that kind of works. Do you train them? Do you feed them? Or the conservation aspect of it?
Lahia was asking us what sort of work do we do husbandry-wise with our sharks here at Moody as well as at Texas State Aquarium, and also any type of research that we may be cooperative undertaking or being cooperative with. And I'll just say what we do with ours is probably just husbandry-wise. we feed our sharks every week. We make sure they're good and healthy. Like you said, we dive with our animals because we have to clean our exhibits, and allows us to check out their health. And certain species we pull every 6 months or a year to do physicals on them, take blood, weights, links, any other type of measurements or anything our veterinarian may want to do with them. And right now we assisted with some research with a graduate student at Texas A&M University in Galveston with her master's project with cow-nosed stingrays, which are elasmobranchs. And hopefully here in the near future we're going to be assisting Dr. David Wells, also with A&M at Galveston, hopefully tagging scout hammerheads here in the Gulf to find out where their populations are and the migratory.
Nice. So at Texas State, we do similar to what happens at Moody Gardens. We feed them a couple of times a week. We really closely watch their caloric intake to make sure that they're in a good body weight, given the temperature of the water and some of the other things that are going on, seasonal as well as with photo period. We do train our sharks to some extent to do conditioning so that they eat at different stations, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of track that caloric intake. Right now, research-wise, we've sponsored a research project with Greg Stuntz at Texas A&M University and the Heart Research Institute, tagging, I believe, hammerheads as well as some of the other bay sharks here to see what's going on with those, and that's kind of a broader research project with those search. And recently, we've gotten involved. We have a female horn shark that continues to lay eggs out of the presence of a male, and so we have a researcher at A&M that's also looking at parthenogenesis of horn sharks. So we're keeping those eggs, treating them as if they were fertile, and then the researchers can take a look at the genetics of those eggs.
Oh man, that's great. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, hopefully it proves something. It'd be good.
Well, we have one about great whites here. The question is, do great whites really jump into the air when they attack at the top of the surface? That's from Dylan.
There's certainly plenty of footage now, kind of I think out of the south tip of Africa, that's showing that they certainly do jump as they're going after seals.
Yeah. Yep. It's that, again, we had talked about it earlier, the counter shading, and hides them from the seals and the sea lions when they're getting ready to attack.
Yep.
Oh, another good one. This is, are sharks cold or warm-blooded?
Well, ours are cold. They're all cold-blooded, and we certainly see them speed up or slow down depending on how the water temperature is doing here in the bay as well as in the aquarium. So they are completely dependent on that temperature.
Yeah, exactly. There are some sharks that are slightly warm-blooded, not totally like a mammal is, but some of the mackerel sharks, like great whites and makos and some of the faster swimming ones, actually have countercurrent blood systems, and they can warm their muscles up a little warmer than ambient. So they can. That's the reason they can have those really fast bursts of speed. Do sharks give live birth?
Well, some of them appear to give live birth, but that's typically the eggs are hatching within the female, and the female pups what is a live pup. And we have some sharks here at the aquarium that lay eggs nonstop, so they're both oviparous and oviviparous.
Yep. Some of the sharks, for instance, our brown sharks are live bears. So there are some sharks that do give live birth.
Yep.
How long have sharks been on our planet?
Longer than us?
Good answer. They've been here for millions of years. I've heard thrown out 450 million years.
Yeah.
Long time. We got another one. Same thing. How long have sharks been around? Again, it's quite a long time. You can easily find fossilized sharks teeth, especially the megalodon, the great older great white sharks. You can find in many places. A lot of places you'll find them.
Yep.
And can
Sure.
sharks be trained?
Yeah, we train ours. Ours certainly can detect shape and some color, and so we can move the sharks around as we need them to based on those shapes and colors. And then we've done some minimal stretcher training on them. So I think maybe not as much as a dolphin or another marine mammal, but they have some abilities to be conditioned.
Sharks are very intelligent. They can certainly pick up on things a lot quicker than most people think. Evan asks, how old is our oldest shark here at Moody Gardens? And man, I got to think about that one for a minute. Our oldest shark is probably our female zebra shark, and she's been here at Moody for at least 10 years or longer, and she was almost an adult when we got her, so I would easily say she's 15 to 20 years old.
Nice.
What about vectors?
How about, well, you mentioned Yurts, the oldest shark you have, Jesse.
Yeah, we have a male sand tiger that we know it's at least 30 years old. We estimate somewhere between 35 and 40. He's been at the aquarium since the early 90s and is doing quite well. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Where sharks important in
Why, Leo was asking, why are sharks important sort of in the big picture? You know, why do we have sharks out in the oceans and sort of what their purpose is? And I'd say that way animals work out in the wild, that one of the things that sharks do is they're responsible for sort of keeping things in order by cleaning up the oceans, and it's sort of their job to take out sick and old and injured animals, and that way the fittest survive and the other species of animals, and that's really sort of what their job is.
Yeah, without them, the oceans would turn into chaos.
What about the great whites that were spotted in the Gulf? What was that all about?
Oh, what was, do you know much about the great whites that were tagged off of the East Coast that happened to take a little vacation down in the Gulf this last couple months?
Yeah, we tracked some of it. They were with that O-Search group, so we've been interested in what they've been doing. I think the latest I heard was that there was one that was hanging out around the Louisiana-Texas border. So it's been interesting that they're here, particularly this time of year.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Now that we have great whites right off our coast, I'd love to see them.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
Oh, we have, this is a good question. It says, what other animals are sharks most closely related to?
Well, they're closely, stingrays are really close. I mean, the cartilaginous fish that has the same, sometimes the same internal physiology, so very closely related.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh, boy, this is,
Well,
yeah. You got an opinion on that one?
You know, that's good. I mean, certainly they're like the megalodon and some of those other species have gone the way of the dinosaurs, but there's some that are around that have been around for millions and millions of years. So yeah, the exact answer, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that one stumped scientists as well. I saw a good program on that just recently, and that's I think it kind of stumped scientists as well, because you have to believe that perhaps maybe because they were in the water, that was a bit of a buffer from the events that took dinosaurs out. But
yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's unique that so many species survive, and we even have smaller versions of versions of great whites.
How much do we know about sharks? Are they kind of still a mystery? How successful is shark tagging? Is that why it's done?
Kelly was wanting to know how much do we really know about sharks? Are they still a mystery to scientists and us in general? And sort of what information do we glean from tagging sharks and some of the things that perhaps we do in aquariums, in public aquariums?
Well, I think we don't know nearly what we don't know. I think there's a lot out there that we're still learning. I think the tagging that we've been involved in and that we're hoping to continue through the next couple of years is looking at where they go to maybe pup, where they breeding at, where their winter and summer grounds. So tracking them, how deep do they go, some of that information. I think the tags will really shed some light on that. As far as in the aquarium, I think we're constantly learning how to better take care of them. We have animals that are living a long time in the aquariums, and so nutritional information continues to come out of that. I think reproductive information, a lot of good science.
Yeah, I agree. Aquariums really offer the unique opportunity to bring a lot of these species in and work with them in a controlled environment, whereas most scientists and researchers would have a difficult time actually going out in nature. So we provide that resource and that opportunity to be able to do that, and then to pass on that knowledge and education to our guests so they can better appreciate these animals.
That's right.
Are there any animals that really consistently hunt and eat sharks?
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
Probably some of the smaller guys. Sharks eat themselves, so sharks will eat other sharks.
Sharks eating sharks, yeah.
And but I don't know of anything that actually goes out and will hunt sharks for food.
Really, I've heard female killer whales will hunt sharks when they're pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
What about humans? Are they
Well,
a danger to sharks?
Well, of course, humans. We sort of take them for granted, right? How many hundreds, thousands of sharks are killed annually just for fins?
Yep.
And such a waste.
What do humans do to sharks? They hunt them, and what for?
Sort of what we do. What do our I'd say interactions with sharks, and really what do we hunt sharks for? Reasons for food, for sport, for just because we think they're dangerous. Look at the retribution that we had on sharks right after Jaws came out. We thought we had to kill as many as we could because they were going to eat us all.
Are there any laws in place to protect sharks from being fished?
There are. Leah was asking what kind of laws are in place to help protect sharks from being fished out or hunted and killed. Right. And I know in the United States there are a lot of federal and state laws, and internationally there are by governments to help protect sharks because they're animals with no boundary. And they certainly travel the oceans, and it's important for all nations to get together and help protect the animals, not just one or two.
That's right.
I know here in Texas we have our Texas Parks and Wildlife Department has limits on sharks. You're only allowed to catch one a day on your fishing license. And there are only certain species that you're allowed to catch. There are pelagic sharks that you're not allowed to land at all.
That's right. And hammerheads just got listed. I think scallops are now protected to some extent.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
Oh, can sharks hear? What?
They can certainly detect vibrations in the water. Hearing like we hear, I'm not sure about, but they can sense that vibration, pick up on stuff. They certainly have the ability to, I guess, hear. Yeah, hear, right? Yeah, they
Yeah,
hear.
pick up on vibrations through the water. It's exactly what we do. They just sort of do it
Yep.
differently.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the coolest ways to track sharks, I don't know if I should say this, but you take an empty plastic water bottle and you squish it up underwater, and it sounds exactly like a dying fish that will attract sharks.
Really?
Don't try it.
Yes.
Don't try
You have to do it. You go out there, take your water bottle out. Yes. So have you had an opportunity to dive with sharks out in the wild?
I did. I was in Bonaire, and we saw reef sharks in the area. They weren't big, and they stayed away, but they were certainly there and around, and that's pretty much been it. I've been in the vicinity of whale sharks, but I've never actually seen one.
Wow.
What about you?
Oh, I've had the opportunity to see. I've seen some nurse sharks diving out with the Rigs to Reef program. We've seen some hammerheads and some little silky sharks and some browns. And was incredibly lucky to be able to swim with whale sharks in Baja, off of Baja, California. So
Nice.
I consider myself very lucky to have been able to do that.
How many were there?
We were, at the time, we were looking to satellite tag them with one of the former places I worked, and we were probably seeing 2 to 3 a day. And they were fairly small ones. I say small. They were 15 to 25 foot.
Yeah.
And, I certainly get bigger than that, but very green water, so they were coming in very close to the Baja to feed, and because they're filter feeders. So swim incredibly fast. You don't realize how fast they can swim when you're trying to catch up with them in fins and snorkels to try to attach tag. They're gorgeous animals, and we have there is an aquarium. Georgia Aquarium does have whale sharks on display in their aquarium, so which is their beautiful animals.
They are.
Any final thoughts on sharks, Jesse, or anything you want?
No, I think they're incredible. I think it's great that we have a week dedicated to spotlighting what they do for oceans and the conservation work that we can do to help protect the different species that are out there.
I totally agree. It's really. We have a question. Final question here. Evan asks us, how do dolphins protect themselves from sharks?
Well, I've certainly there's been reports that pods of dolphins will aggressively go after sharks to move them out of the pod area. So dolphins can hold their own.
Yep, smart animals, and they can swim fairly fast. They can work amongst themselves to protect it.
Yep.
Yep. Well, it's been really good talking with you, Jesse, and talking about sharks always. And had a lot of good questions, and some of my thoughts, I agree wholeheartedly with Jesse. We have to appreciate the animals that we have, and come visit Moody Gardens as well as the Texas State Aquarium. Enjoy the sharks that we have for our guests to look at, enjoy, and just something I used to say at shows that I was part of way in the past was I certainly hope you enjoyed our sharks, because our sharks would certainly enjoy you. So thanks everybody, and hope you had a good time learning a few things about our sharks.
Yep. Thanks, Roy.
Okay, thanks, Jesse.